So we're going to continue cleaning our data. And the next thing we need to do is turn our data into JSON files. Luckily, there's a ton of tools out there to help us do this. Since we're working with JavaScript and Node, we're going to continue working with JavaScript and Node. And I'm just going to collapse this folder here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make a new folder right here in the root. So we have clean data, we have our hospital data raw. I'm just going to make a new folder. We'll just call this utils. And I'm going to open a new terminal. And I'm just doing ls. We see that I'm in this root directory here. I'm going to change directory cd into utils. And I'm going to fire off an npm init. And again, I'm just going to take all the default values. So I'm just hitting enter to go through the interactive prompt there. But that just gives me package.json so that I can track the things I install. So I'm going to fire off, and we're all using newer versions of npm. I found out you don't have to use the -- save flag. It does save by default. So with the latest version of npm, you don't have to say -- save. But we're going to do npm -- save install csv2json, all one word, lowercase. And so now we are going to have access, and I'm going to use npx here, npx csv2json. Again, that just looks inside node modules in this .bin, and it finds this command here for us. And so we can see we have this little helper tool, convert CSVs to JSON format. So we're going to want to use that. Before we go there, I'm going to open up my Explorer. I'm going to jump back to that directory that we were in. And at this point, if you've not committed your changes, you should definitely commit your changes. Make sure you have committed the work that you've done. And we want to rename these files. And so we have several different naming conventions going on, different casing. So let's just click here. We will do, this will be, let's put the university first. So this is the DRG. So we'll call this UNC underscore DRG. And this is, we'll change this one. This will be UNC underscore charge master. So we have two different files. We have the DRG and the charge master. And so we will change this. DUH this will be Duke, and this will be charge master.csv, and then Duke DRG.csv. And so that keeps us in line with wakemed underscore DRG. And then here we had three different files. So we have wakemed underscore charge master underscore, and that was CDM. And then this one, wakemed, charge master farm. And finally, our last one becomes wakemed charge master supplies. And then we have wakemed DRG. So that is much more consistent naming, and that'll help us with our files as we move forward. So we'll leave this, call this clean data. We're inside utils. Let's jump back over here in node modules. We have access to that CSV to JSON tool. And so we're just going to write, I'm in bash here. So if you are using on a Mac, you should be in bash as well. For Windows folks, this is get bash. So in bash, just a quick little for loop. And so if I pwd, I'm in utils. We can look over here at the tree. All of my data lives over in cleaned underscore data. And so we will just go ahead and make a new folder. Oops, I don't want to make it inside clean data. Escape out of that. Let's just click out here in the main window. We'll make a new folder, and this will be cleaned JSON. And so here we're going to write a little for loop. So we're going to say for, so we're just writing in bash, and we write I guess our variable first would be 4 would be, so it's for a file, so for f will be our variable. Then we do dollar in parentheses, and that lets us run another command. So we're going to say for f as the file name, in, and we are going to do dollar parens. We're going to do an ls. We want to list the contents, so we're in utils. So we're going to go up a directory to cleaned underscore data. So we want to ls dot dot slash cleaned underscore data. Then we throw in a semicolon. We tell it to do. Now we're just going to stub this out. We just want to echo the file name. So echo $f coming because f's the variable here. So for f file in ls dot dot slash clean data. So for each file in this directory, echo, do this command, do echo $f, another semicolon to end that statement, and then done. So we'll hit enter, and we see that we have all of our CSV files listed out. So now instead of echoing that file, we want to run do npx csv to JSON $f, so that's the file. Now it's got to be the full path, so we got to put in front of it dot dot slash cleaned underscore data slash, because again, this is just listing the files in cleaned data. It's not the actual path. So do npx csv to JSON dot dot slash cleaned underscore data slash $f. So we're going to convert that to JSON. Then we're going to redirect the output. So we say greater than. So redirect, notice that makes an arrow, points over to dot dot slash cleaned underscore JSON slash. We're going to do dollar curly braces f, okay? So this is just another way to write $f. Bash will just look at this and say, oh yeah, I only want the variable in the curly braces. So dollar curly braces f dot JSON. So we're going to keep the original file name, including .csv, and we're just going to add .json to the end, and then we'll just say done. So we'll hit enter, fire that off. Let's open this cleaned JSON directory. And so we can watch it process. We see these files pop in. And so we can take a look at one of them. Let's look at Duke DRG. And so Duke DRG, we have some data in here. We see a square bracket. It tells us it's an array. We can scroll over. We have some fields that we're not using. Field 6, field 7, field 8. That was probably just empty stuff hanging around there in the CSV, empty columns. But this DRG code, we need to populate that. And then DRG description. So we need to take this code here and put it over there and then update the description. So to do this, while we're inside this utils folder, so I'm just click on this utils folder here, and I'm just going to do new file. So notice it's creating that new file under utils. It's very important. And so this will be clean Duke DRG. And well, that'll be .js, or writing a JavaScript file. So clean Duke DRG. And then my ESLint is mad. That's okay. So clean Duke DRG. We're going to write a one-off script to just handle cleaning this file, this Duke DRG.csv.json. So I know I'm going to have to bring in fs so that I can read that file. So we require fs. A little bit of housekeeping. Make our main function. Call it after we've defined it. Put in a JS doc, so this will be clean the Duke DRG data and populate missing fields. Then function main, I'm going to have to go get that file content. So again, we're going from this directory here. We know I'm going to go dot dot up and then just read that in. So we're just going to hard code that in. We're not going to pass it as an argument or anything. So we will say let raw JSON equal fs.readFileSync. So we're going to read this file synchronously. So that way this will block, this line will block until all the file contents have been read. So raw JSON read file synchronously // cleaned underscore JSON / Duke underscore DRG .csv .json. We can go back and change those file names later, but for now, that's fine. And then we want our data to equal JSON.parse the raw JSON. And then we're going to loop over each record in that array. So we'll say data.forEach. And then we'll just say R for record. So for each R for each record. We want to execute some function. And so this function is going to change that data. We somehow need to manipulate those records and clean that data. So let's reference what that looks like. We have this DRG description that we need to parse. And we're going to use regular expressions to do that again. So you can use regular expressions in JavaScript. So we'll come up here and we'll say const rx. Rx for regular expression. And you put those between forward slashes. So const rx equals, goes on the end of that. We are looking for, let's just copy this. So we have something here to reference. Be good to put a quote in here on what we're doing as well. So we are, we'll say it matches the code from the description, e.g. like that. All right, so remember we can anchor to the beginning of the line with the caret. So we're going to say from the beginning of this string, we want to match a digit, \d, so a digit, one or more digits. So sometimes it's just one digit, sometimes it's multiples. So \d plus. And so we're just going to put that in parentheses. So we're going to group that. So we're going to match this. And then we're going to make another match group. We're going to match this spacing in here, that space dash space. So \d plus space dash space. That's the next thing it's going to match. Then we're going to match anything else that's left over. So that's dot star. So that's dot means any character and star means 0 or more. So anything else that possibly comes after that. So 3 groups, and that's our regular expression, our Rx. And so for each record, we're going to let match equal Rx, and you call execute. So you execute that expression, execute that regular expression against the record, so R, the record dot DRG description. So just remember over here what our data looks like. The key name is DRG description. And so we're going to get a match out of that. And we're going to mutate this object, this record. So we're going to say the record.drg code is going to be equal to the match 1. So this match object, you can log this out, or we could throw a debug in here. But this match object, any of these fields that it matches, the first 0 index, I can't remember off the top of my head. We'd have to go look up in MDN what it matches. But then this will be the first, second, and third indices. That is the second, third, and fourth items. And so the DRG code will be match 1, which is here, the second item. And then there's nothing that we care about here. We're just capturing that space. And then we want this third capture. We want to rewrite the DRG description. And so we'll just say that that is match, match 2. And so at that point, it's mutated the data. We're not going to write it back out yet. We'll just see if we got this right. So we'll just do a console.log data 0. And so we're just going to look at the first item once this code is ran. So back down here, just type in clear, make us some space. do an ls. We have this clean Duke drg.js. We'll just fire off node, clean Duke drg.js. And so it's put out this final record here at the bottom after it's done something with it. And so we have drg code 1 and the drg description totally wrong. So there's our first typo. It's not match 2, it's match 3, which is kind of helpful because it lines up as 1, 2, 3. Just know that there's actually another thing inside of there. So let's run that again. And so now we see drg code 1, DRG description, heart transplant or implant. So that looks good. Average price needs some work. It needs to be trimmed up. And I would say there's actually quite a few text issues like that in the other files. So we'll deal with that. We'll write something that loops over all the files in that directory. And let's do something else just specific to this Duke data. Let's get rid of all these extra fields. So for each record, we fix the code and the description, and then let's loop over the keys on this object, and let's get rid of anything that starts with field. And we could just hard code those as well. So I'm kind of 6 1/2 dozen the other. Let's just hard code it. So we'll just fire off a delete r dot field 6. And then we'll copy that 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7. So we'll save that, run our script again, and now this is nice and clean here. DRG code, DRG description, average price, insured average patient responsibility pricing. Again, those values need to be trimmed up, but that's not the end of the world to try to get rid of that white space. We could do that. Like I said, it could be that other files have that same problem. But we'll leave this as is. We need to write the results back out. So now we're going to let our final JSON equal JSON.stringify data. And now we want to fs.write files synchronously. So this will block until that entire file's been written. And then we're going to do // cleaned underscore JSON Duke drg.csv.json. So we're just overwriting that same file now that we're done with it. So we'll hit save on that. We'll run our node clean Duke drg.js. So let's look one more time. Notice they're still empty. DRG codes are still empty there. Or actually, we can just leave this up. We can come down here. So we'll run node clean Duke drg.js. And we broke it. Why do we break it? Because we didn't write anything in here. And that file's gone. So we got to bring that file back with that for loop. So just run that for loop, let it move everything over. That's fine. We could also just run that for one single file, but that'll put our Duke DRG CSV JSON back, and we want to write file synchronously. We do want to write this as UTF-8, and we want to write final. Oh, oops, did I do that backwards? We want to write final JSON. If encoding's not supplied, it defaults to UTF-8, so we're good. Yep. So we'll just write that out. So clean Duke drg.js ran. So now we can come over here. It's obviously not as pretty. DRG code 1, DRG description, heart transplant. So that's been cleaned up. That actually looks pretty good. Insured patient responsibility. Dashes. Looks like there's some dashes for values that weren't there. So if you didn't see that, what I'm looking at, I'm just kind of spot checking this data. I'm going to go back and look at the Duke DRG, and I'm looking for some pricing that apparently they would just have a dash in there. So we'll just do Control F for quote dash quote dash space not seeing anything. So we may still have something not quite right. So let's back up. Let's go open the Duke DRG CSV JSON. I hit Control K, Control F, and that formats this document. Control K, Control F on the Mac, that's Command K, Command F. You can also do Control Shift P, format document here. And so notice my little dot, I haven't saved that change. I'm just looking through this pricing information and looking for values that maybe look messed up. So just kind of give this a visual check. So this one, carotid artery stent procedure. Seeing dashes for insured average patient responsibility. So let's just check that in that original CSV. Yeah, okay, yeah, so they had that as dashes in there as well. So I think we're okay there. We can always go all the way back to the raw data. And let's look at the Duke DRG. So we'll open that CSV. Control F here, carotid artery stent. Yeah, so they had dashes. They just didn't have any values for that. So I don't know, that maybe means unknown. We might want to replace those with zeros. Actually, quite a few in there. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and tackle that really quick. So we have the same file. I'm going to close this without saving. So we have our same file here. And we want to fix r dot uninsured. There's no way I'm going to get that right. Let's go back up here to the top. Insured average patient responsibility, and the other one, uninsured average patient responsibility. And so we'll say that equals, we're going to write a ternary statement here. Actually, that's going to get kind of hard. That's going to get kind of hard to read. We'll just write a regular statement. So, oops. If the uninsured average patient responsibility is just a dash, and I quit writing out typos, we're just going to set that to a 0. Set that equal to, and we'll put that in a 0 as a string to match the other pricing is already strings. So we'll just copy this, paste this down here. And pop that same value for uninsured in both of those. Save that. Clean our file again. Oops. What did we mess up? Cannot read property 1 of null. Oh yeah, because we've already changed the data. Yep. So it's really simple. If so we're just going to save that out where we're saying if there is a match, use the match code. So we'll run that. It cleaned it. Let's close this. Let's open Duke. Oh, wrong one again. Clean JSON, Duke DRG CSV.json. And we were looking at cohort. I'm not going to remember that. Carotid artery stent procedure. Let's just copy that. Control Shift P, format the document, make it a little easier to read. Control F, artery stent procedure, and now we have nice zeros in here, so we don't have any of the dashes. So one more step in the right direction. We'll click not save. So we've analyzed our data for the Duke stuff, cleaned that. Let's take a look and see if any of the other data looks like it needs. Maybe this is the only file we write, if the other data needs to be cleaned up. So I'm not seeing any leading or trailing spaces. This looks pretty tight, pretty clean. So that's the Duke charge master. Let's look at the UNC charge master. Same thing here. That looks really good. There is a dollar signs for the pricing. There isn't dollar signs for the pricing on here. DRG average price. This does not have dollar signs. So let's look at what is weight med. Weight med, no dollar signs. Does have commas. This one has dollar signs. So it looks like what we could do is check each file and run through the keys. If we see price in any of the keys, let's just get rid of dollar signs if they exist. And the rest of this looks good. So we got something else to clean up on the Duke stuff. We had a lot of leading and trailing white space. So that's really easy to clean up. Let's go ahead and clean that up here. So we've deleted all those extra fields. And then for, oh, no, not for. Let's do object.keys for this record, dot for each. So for each key, we are going to look at the value for this. So let's just pull this out. So we'll say let val equal rk, and then we want value equals value dot trim. So just to show you what this does, let's open up node. So if I have space, foo, space, and I call dot trim on it, it just gets rid of leading and trailing white space. So simple string operation. So I'm just saying let value equal rk, value equals value dot trim, and then rk. So we're just putting the same value back in for the same key. And so once again, run that clean Duke drg.js. We'll go in and look at this file, and we shouldn't see any leading or trailing spaces now. And we don't have dollar signs here, do we? No. So now we just want to walk through the directories. We'll grab all the different files and get rid of any dollar signs for any key that has price in the name. So let's just so I'm going to click on the utils directory here. And so we had this clean Duke drg.js. And so that's just cleaning a specific file. It's just cleaning that Duke data in a very specific way. So let's make a new file. And so let's clean prices.js. And once again, const fs equals require fs, because we are going to have to open and close files. Function main will be the main body of this program. And we will just call main. And this time we're going to use something else, something special we've not used before. We're going to read an argument in, and so let's make our js.comment that this replaces dollar signs in prices. Let's do dollar signs and commas in prices. So function main, we want to console.log. Remember, we have access to special variables when we're running a node. One of those is process. And so we just want to look at process argv. And so these are the arguments that are provided to this script when it runs. And so now, do an ls here, we have clean prices.js. So we'll run node clean underscore prices.js. And so we can see there are two things passed to it, node.exe, so the node executable, and then the actual script we're executing. And so if we wanted to clean the prices for our file at /cleaned_JSON Duke charge master, you can see that last argument down here is the file that we need to read. So we can take not the 0, not the first, not the second, but the third item in argv will be the first argument passed into our script. And so just we can do something really quick here. We can say if process.argv is less than 3, we can process.standarderror.write, please provide the path to the file to clean. We can be nice and put a new line on the end of that. And so now if we run this, it runs, it consoles everything out. If we were to leave that off, we should have got that error. Oh, why don't we get the error? Process.argv dot length. That would be useful. If the length is less than 3, then we get this little error message. Please provide the path to the file to clean. So that's good. So we've got that in there. So we can let file path equal process.argv2. So we're taking that third item out of there. We will let raw JSON equal, should be nice, that's an initialism, let raw JSON equal fs.read file synchronously, the file path specified. And now we can JSON.parse the raw JSON. So we will let that be our data variable. Oops. Then data.forEach. So we're going to loop over each R record, so each record here. We're going to loop over each key. So now we're going to say that would be capital O object dot keys, keys of the object R dot for each K, and we want to know if there is a substring, so substrings, some part of the string, a couple ways we can do that. We want to know if price is in this key, so we'll stub this in. If, I think it's key dot substring, I'm going to blank on which way to do this. We don't want to. We're going to have to open this up because I do not remember which one we need to use. K.substring. Or actually, we can just do index of. Even easier. If k.index of price is greater than 0, so price exists somewhere in the string, that should actually be greater than or equal to 0. We know price is in there, and so let's just do console.log value, which we haven't said what value is yet, so we'll let value equal rk. We'll save that. So this is just gonna we'll run clean prices on our Duke charge masters. This should console out all of our pricing information, and so there's quite a few commas in there as it goes through all the different values. And so we want to do a replacement. The most efficient way to do a JavaScript replacement, let's do Google Chrome, new window, MDN, JS, string replace. So string.prototype.replace, that means any string, prototype, any string is going to have this replace method. And then it looks like we can use a regex, or we can just do a word. So we just want to replace commas with nothing and dollar signs with nothing. So that should be really straightforward. So value equals value dot replace, and we want to replace comma with nothing, so just an empty string, and that's going to return a string. So we want to run a second replace right here. We want to replace $sign with nothing. And then finally, we want to put that value back in. So RK here equals value. And so we'll save that. And so we're looking at this file. Let's go back up here to the top. And so we can see right here this first price definitely has a comma, 278,923. So let's just run our script again. And did it fix it? Did we mess up? Let's run node. Let's check and see if we did 298, comma 273. Or actually, I had the wrong file open anyways. It probably did run. Sorry, my fault. We were looking at Duke DRG. We ran it on Duke ChargeMaster. Oh, we didn't write the file back out. Yeah, we got a couple things to do. Sorry, I'm rushing. Let's go down here, and we want to let final JSON equal JSON dot stringify data. Now that we've mutated the data, then we want to fs dot write file synchronous. We want to block until that file is completely written. The file path that we have, final JSON data, and then we're done. All right, so let's run that again. Duke ChargeMaster csv.json. Double check over here. Don't see any $signs. Don't see any commas in prices. Let's go do the same thing. What was one of the files that had that? UNC ChargeMaster? Yeah, so let's run it on the UNC ChargeMaster. UNC ChargeMaster. And then, of course, it changes the formatting here, but we can see the price change. Control-Shift-P, format document. Oops. There it goes. Don't want to say that makes that document quite a bit bigger. Yeah, that looks good. No commas, no $signs. So just Control-Z that to close it. Let's see, Duke ChargeMaster, Duke DRG. So DRG right here for that heart transplant or implant, 278,923. So let's run that. So Duke underscore DRG. JSON. Oh, that doesn't actually have price in the key. Yeah, that had responsibility. Oh boy. So let's go back to clean prices one more time. If index of price is greater than 0, or, so double pipes, k dot index of, responsibility is greater than equal to 0. We'll run our clean script again. That looks a lot better. 9961154. Yeah, that looks good. 278,923. No more commas, no more $signs. We know that those are monetary values, and we've cleaned those up. So that looks good. It formatted on save. Want to hit save on that one. So let's write one more for loop, just like we did before. We can hit our up arrow and go back up, but I don't think we need it. So we'll just say for file, so for f in dollar parentheses. We're going to run another sub command in here. We're going to say ls dot dot slash cleaned JSON. So for file in ls cleaned JSON. Do, always just stub this in, make sure you got it right, echo $f, semicolon again there, and say done. So there's the files that are in that directory. And so instead of echoing that file, we want to run node clean underscore prices.js and pass in that $F. Oops. So it's complaining it can't open those files. We just got to put our // cleaned underscore JSON path in front of that, make that a fully qualified path. So now that's clean prices, has ran across all the files. So we shouldn't see any more $signs or commas in any of our pricing. So let's look around these charge master supplies. No $signs. I think that looks good. So that'll do wrap it up for this video. So we made a couple scripts, clean prices. We went through programmatically, procedurally cleaning our data. We made this clean Duke DRG file, and that let us clean up the Duke data specifically. And it had a lot of special logic in there where we were pulling out those DRG codes. And so we can take one more look at that file, Duke DRG CSV, Control-Shift-P, format the document there. We can see those codes coming across in here, 23, 24, 28. That all looks good. So reset that, close that file, and we will pick up with doing something with our data, actually pulling it into an application and getting it displaying in the next video.